All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. It's good to be back. This is DFS Army's NBA pre-lock show, where we are here to answer your questions. We'll also go game by game and just kind of talk through what we're doing on the slate. So we'll try to do a mixture of the two. If there's too many questions, I'll just save them for the end, but that's usually not too much of an issue with this one. Brandon, B-Dubs, man, it's been a bit since we've done this. I feel like it's been forever, but it's really only been like a week and a few days, but it's crazy how DFS time works. But how have you been, man? Life treating you all right?
Been good. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I definitely did. Ate a lot of food, of course. So
and good
had a
NFL
good
slate
weekend and
yesterday.
looking forward to getting back to NBA.
Yeah, I didn't have a great NFL DFS Thanksgiving night, but I had a really good yesterday slate. So hopefully we can keep it going for this good old NBA 4-gamer. We have a lot of time, so that's kind of why I was stalling a little bit. But Jonathan, good to see you, man. It's NBA time. It's good to be back. Dixon said, please tell me DeJounte isn't going to be chalk. I don't think he's going to be too chalky. He's someone I like a good bit
is ruled out.
Yeah, if Ingram gets ruled out, he will then become super chalk, but for good reason. Dixon said also Anthony Davis, that bum is banned. Now has you can't ban AD. He's had so many 50-plus point games, man. You already know what I'm doing because of that. Tyrell said, oh, shit, let's go. Agreed, man. Let's make it happen. Thomas Dye, good to see you. Jules, good to see you as well, man. All right, let's get into this slate. Starting off, we have a pretty gross game for a wide variety of reasons, but we'll start off with the Miami Heat going up against the Boston Celtics. For the Heat, when it comes to injury news, let's see, what are we dealing with here? We have Jimmy Butler out. That was like the big news that was sitting, that once we got that, we knew we were playing somebody from this game. Kevin Love's been out. There's not really anything else worth mentioning here, but the Jimmy Butler being out for this team is what makes the Heat viable tonight, even in going up against the Celtics. Who are you looking at here, man?
So I'll start with Tyler Hero, of course. He's looking like one of the best plays on the slate. He's just in good form, man. I think he's still priced well for his upside. It does help him that Holiday will miss this one, so his matchup should be much easier tonight. So I do love him quite a bit. Kind of the same thing for Bam too. I know chalky Bam is very scary, but no Porzingis, no Horford. All he has to worry about is Kata and Cornette. So on paper, he should eat in this matchup, and he still had a really good price for his upside as well. So I'm actually going to delete this man because now he's showing up as a core play. So I will have quite a bit of him tonight. And then I do like Jaime quite a bit tonight as well. Didn't have to really do anything for him. He's a nice 4K player. That's the DS just kind of forcing getting around 30-something%. He hasn't shown too much upside, but he's had some solid games. And as long as he gets between 25 to 30, we're good at that price, which is well within his realm. So I do like him quite a bit as well. And then I did put a 10% man on Haywood Highsmith. He just is another cheap guy. I wanted in the mix tonight. We don't have too much value, so he has a lot of random blowout games and should see a lot of minutes tonight as well.
Who, Highsmith? Is that who you're talking about there towards the end?
Yep.
Okay, let me look at him a little bit closer because I never play him. Yeah, if he goes off, it's just gonna suck for me. I really can't stand Highsmith. He's showing up in 3% of my lines, so that's gonna have to be enough. But for me, like you mentioned, Holiday not playing makes this a bit of a softer matchup for Hero, which is nice. Hero shows up by himself. Probably gonna be a core play for me on this slate, so I'll have plenty of him. Similar to you, I had a 20% min on Bam 30 minutes ago as well because he's only showing up around 24%. But now he's showing up as a core play option for me. Potentially, we'll see if things shift there. But he's someone I like being significantly over the field on. Jaime's another guy I didn't have to force too much exposure to. I still don't feel overly passionate about him, but, he's a fine play. He's showing up in plenty of my lines. And then that's pretty much it for the Heat. They're just never a team I'm overly excited about, but Tyler Hero makes a ton of sense, and so does Bam. When you look at usage rates with Butler, Jovic, and Josh Richardson out, Alec Burks is actually the guy who sees the highest increase in usage at 4.77%. You also see guys like Ware slide in there a little bit too with the 3.82% increase in usage. And then you see Tyler Hero. But when it comes to raw fantasy points, you get Tyler Hero at around 14, an increase in about 14 points per average. And so that's why we like Hero as much, even if he doesn't see the dramatic increase in usage. I am open to taking a shot on Burks, but I think we have better guard options on the slate, and that's the main reason why I didn't. But Ricardo, I thought about it, but there's just better.
AKA Keon Johnson.
Yeah, Keon Johnson for the Nets is just almost a no-brainer, and I like Schroeder a lot too on this spot. So hard for me to get too excited about that. So that's pretty much the Heat. Looking at the Celtics, this was a team we had a lot of question marks about a couple of hours ago, but now we have a bit more clarity and still one question mark. When it comes to the guys who are actually out, let me see. We have Kristaps Porzingis out. He's resting tonight. Drew Holiday out. Hauser out. Al Horford out. That's why people are asking about Cornette or Queta. Brown's questionable, though. Jaylen Brown being questionable is a pretty big deal for this team, so we have to keep a really close eye out for what ends up happening with him. But until we get that news, what was your strat here?
So I wanted to make sure I got some Pritchard. He's just been in really good form the last couple games, and he's kind of been blowing that price tag out of the water. So his ownership did go up. So I'm okay with matching that and putting a 20% man. So I'll change that really quick. Tatum was started to fall for me, and I just wanted to match the field on him. He's just the guy that I want in this matchup. I like his price still, and with all these guys out, I think he just kind of takes over for the team tonight. So I do like him quite a bit. And then didn't do anything else. I'm just kind of letting the DS do his thing with the rest. Of course, we'll adjust if Jaylen ends up missing. But as of now, I think the only thing I'm waiting to see is if Cato or Cornette starts, and I'm willing to play the starter between those two.
Yeah, I think you're looking at this the right way. I also have a 20% min on Pritchard. Sim model liked him a good bit, so that's really the main reason why I did it. He's also been in really good form, playing a lot of minutes. Is an even better play and will probably be super chalk if Brown gets ruled out. But I have a 20% min on him. Tatum, I'm only going to force into my lineups if Jaylen Brown gets ruled out. If it burns me, it burns me. But there's other guys I like a bit more on this slate. And so I didn't force him. It was really just a 20% min on Pritchard. And then, like you said, once we get that starting lineup, which thankfully this is the first game of the slate, we should get that in time. As long as we get that, I'll force in whoever's going to end up playing. Ideally be a little bit over the field there. And then that's pretty much it for me for the Celtics. I don't like them too much unless Jaylen Brown gets ruled out. Then that's when I'm going to look at guys like White and maybe some other options here. But it's hard for me to get overly pumped to play the Celtics tonight. And for those of you who are wondering what you're looking at on this screen outside of me and Brandon, you're looking at B-Dubs' DS, his optimizer, the domination station. And if you want access to that, which is how we make our lines, how we've both had multiple takedowns, feel free to click the link in the description. Use code BDUB, BDUBB, for a 10% discount there. I don't think the Black Friday deal is still going on. It might. If you want a 50% discount, try BF 2024 for a 50% discount there. Worth a shot. All right, next up, we have the Pelicans going up against the Hawks. This is a game I like more, but we still have news that we're waiting on, unless I missed it already. But Brandon Ingram is questionable. Jordan Hawkins is out. Zion Williamson is out. Herbert Jones is doubtful. Quite a few things that matter here at this point. With the game total, that's the highest or second highest on the slate. When it comes to the Pelicans, though, do you like any of these guys today?
Yep. So as you can see, I put a 20% min on DeJounte. I just want to be really aggressive on him. I love the matchup. We say it all the time. Attack Trey, and it is a revenge narrative for him as well. So I think he's too cheap for the upside he has. And then I do like Trey Murphy. I didn't do anything to him. So I'm not going to like try to match the field, but I'll let the DS kind of dictate how much of him I get. And then not really getting to anyone else. I will say, of course, that will change if Ingram gets ruled out, which in that case, I definitely I think Murray will probably be a core play. I'd be willing to get some exposure to CJ, and then of course I would have more Trey Murphy as well.
Yeah, I love this team. If Brandon Ingram plays, I will force exposure to Brandon Ingram. There's not really a guy I don't like too much on the Pelicans tonight, but DeJounte Murray's option number one for me. There's the revenge narrative that's freaking awesome. But like you said, Brandon, we attack Trey every single chance we get. It works out more often than it doesn't. DeJounte Murray, he's been playing solid minutes. Price tag is too cheap, like you said. So I have a 20% min on him as well, and I honestly would have been happy going significantly higher than that if we didn't have a guy like Keon Johnson on the slate. Yep. So 20% min for me. I have a 10% min on CJ McCollum. Technically, you can call that a leverage play if you want. I think he's also in a fantastic spot, much better spot if Brandon Ingram gets ruled out. His form has been a little iffy, but I'm fine with it. And then I have a 30% min on Trey Murphy too, because I want to force exposure to these guys because I really like this team tonight. So that's pretty much it. There's always a chance of a blowout here, which is not great, but I don't play for that. So that's why I'm going really high on these guys. Let's see. I think there was one other Pelican that was showing up in a couple of lines. Missy, did you give him any thought?
I did. I haven't ruled him out yet, but I'm highly considering a 10% min on him. Just due to
he's
the
only
matchup.
showing up in 1% of my lines, thankfully. If you're getting more than 10%, I see.
Oh, no. I'm not. I was just considering putting a 10% min on him.
Yeah.
And he's looking good on the 10 model as well.
Yeah, on this slate, don't love him. But yeah, 1% I'll live with, but I don't like it too much. All right, next up, we have the Hawks going up against the Pelicans, which is an interesting spot for them. Atlanta, they're basically healthy, which is not something we can say about too many of the teams on this slate. Matchup against the Pelicans is typically one we don't get overly excited about. Pretty neutral just across the board, but not bad. But again, this is the highest game total on the slate, so that's kind of why I'm getting some exposure to these guys. What are you doing here?
So probably my favorite play on this team is Jalen Johnson. This is just a great matchup, good game environment. He's still priced well. We've seen him put up many 50-point games, and I think this is a spot where he can do that. This team's just missing a lot of people, and they really don't have, especially without Zion, they don't really have, and Herb is out too, any like strong forwards or centers down in the paint. So really he should do whatever he wants tonight, and he will be a core play as well. Trae Young, he really has not been good, and I understand if y'all want to fade this chalk. I just really like his price, and whenever the game environment is good, I don't mind playing him. So I am matching the field and put a 20% min on him. And then everybody else, I'm just kind of letting the DS do his thing. I do like Capella, kind of the same reasons that I mentioned Johnson. They don't really have a really, really good big down low. I mean, Missy's okay, but he's nothing I worry about defensively. So I think Capella could do well here. I think I even have a little Okongwu as well. And then I do like Bogdanovich quite a bit too. He was showing up like right at 15%. So I have a decent mixture of all these guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so split still on the Hawks. Like you said, the Pelicans are missing quite a few guys, which makes the Hawks front court a bit more interesting. The Hawks play at the second fastest pace in the NBA. But they're going up against a team that plays at a slow pace in the Pelicans, which typically makes me less excited to play the guys who are in a tougher spot than they typically are. And so that's the Hawks. But like you said, Jalen Johnson's showing up a ton for me. He has a ton of upside. I like the matchup, especially if the guy's out for the Pelicans. And so Jalen Johnson's someone that I have in the vast majority of my lineups, and I am significantly over the field on him. When it comes to everybody else, though, I'm around field weight on DeAndre Hunter. Like the matchup, but he comes off the bench, so not excited about it. Bogdanovich, similar situation, just not super pumped. He has upside, but I'm around field weight there. And then Clint Capella and Okongwu, they're showing up, but they split minutes pretty much exactly 50-50. So I'm not going to force too much of them, and I am slightly under the field on both, even though I'm a little bit closer to field weight on Okongwu. And then Trae Young is only showing up in 1% of my lines. I don't hate the call just because it is the game with the second highest total, only by 1 point. It makes sense, but I can't get there with you today, man. I just can't.
Understandable. I get it.
I cannot do it, but it makes sense. And if he was lower owned too, I'd be more excited about it. But I don't know, not for me. And then I think that's pretty much it for me when it comes to the Hawks. So next up, we have the Nets going up against the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls are bad, especially when it comes to just them playing no defense at all and just having a really bad, a really fast pace. What makes things even more interesting for the Nets than they already were is that we have Cameron Johnson listed as questionable. Zaire Williams is out. DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith is out. Ben Simmons is out. Cam Thomas is out. And so it's giving us a lot of very viable value on this slate. It's rare that I feel like Cam Johnson's out.
Yeah, wow. That is crazy.
Oh, God. It's so rare that I feel like the Nets' weird, cheap plays are ever guys I'm excited about. But this is the matchup where it actually makes sense. So what are you doing? I don't think you really have to do anything. These guys just show up. But it looks like you can max and cap some of them, right?
Yep. So, Daniel, I saw a couple of your comments about Keon Johnson. He was a lock before, for me at least, but now with Cam Johnson out, he's I'll have 100% of him for sure. He's just too cheap, seeing around 30 minutes. I mean, he might see close to 40 minutes tonight, and he's been putting up some respectable games for someone of his caliber the last couple times out. So, I'm just gonna play 100% of them and move on. Yeah. I do love Schroeder even more now. Mm-hmm. He's just that guy who's just super consistent and solid and still at a decent price. I am going to get rid of this cap on Jalen Wilson. He hasn't really been that good, but with Cam Johnson out now, I'm okay with getting more of him. I just wasn't a huge fan of his price and how he's been performing, but like I said, I'm willing to get rid of that cap now. I did cap Day'Ron Sharpe as well. He was showing up a crazy amount, but I don't think he has played a game yet this season, and how many minutes he will see is kind of unknown. So I just don't want to get too crazy on him. But he does have, he's 3K flat, so he can very well break the slate at that price if he does see the minutes. I just didn't want him at like core level or anything. Yeah. And then I'll even consider guys like Shake now as well. And then, of course, Watford, he was already popping. So, and Matt Martin, pretty much his whole team is in play now. I'm just, I'm going to have everybody.
I have no idea how the projections are going to update with this shit show that's going on at this point, but the Nets make a ton of sense. I think you're getting cute if you're trying to fade them. All of their players who are even somewhat good or talented are not playing tonight. I mean, unless you want to, that's an insult to Schroeder. I won't do that to him. He's still playing, so there's that. But with Cam Thomas already missing and DFS and Cam Johnson, that's what made Schroeder already interesting because of the increasing usage. With Cam Johnson out, it just makes it even better. The only thing that's worrisome about the plays like Dennis Schroeder at this point is really just hoping this game stays close. That's really the only thing with him. He'll probably be the first guy who sits out if the game does blow out. But the Nets are usually pretty good at keeping things relatively close in these spots, even when they're missing a lot of their guys, because, again, they don't have that much talent. So Dennis Schroeder, someone I want a ton of. Jalen Wilson, yeah, he has a relatively low usage rate, but at this point with no Cam, I really don't care. He can show up in every line if that's what the DS wants. Keon Johnson, like you said, is a lock. Day'Ron Sharpe, he's still only showing up for me around 15%. Not someone I want to have as a core play either. I probably don't want much more than around 30%. So that's pretty much where I'm at, but I didn't do anything to these guys on the DS, and they're showing up a ton, and I expect them to only show up more once we do this. The one thing I will do is just because I'm forcing exposure to other players, I am going to keep a close eye on guys like Bam, Jalen Johnson, Tyler Hero, who I like a lot, and some guys we haven't gotten to for some of the other games, just to kind of make sure I don't lose exposure to players I like who are in good spots, just because these guys are also in a fantastic spot. So I'm balancing things out a little bit there. All right. Yeah, this Bulls game is the one. I hope it comes through for us tonight. Let's see. Next up for the Bulls, relatively healthy. Relatively. Let me double check, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Yeah, I mean, Kobe White's questionable. That is actually a pretty big deal, too.
Yeah,
More
he actually got rolled out.
What was that?
He got rolled out.
Oh, he's already out? Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
When did that happen? Was that fresh or am I
just like 5 minutes ago? Maybe
okay,
a little more than 5 minutes ago.
Okay, so I didn't miss anything that new. But yeah, with White out, that is another boost to more players on this 4-gamer. Let's see. For me, I already liked Zach LaVine a lot, and it looks like you might not have liked him as much, but I really liked Zach LaVine in this spot in general. I think he's a very solid play with Kobe White out. Really, all the starters. You can look at Giddey and Ayo as well. They're very viable and very cheap in a much softer matchup with a lot of the net starters sitting. And I know you want to talk about your guy who you are always on. So what's your plan here, man?
Yep. I love Vooch quite a bit. I wish his ownership was a bit lower, but I mean, no one on the Nets should be able to stop him at all. I mean, they still have Claxton, who's okay, but yeah, Vooch should do whatever he wants to this team tonight. So I do like him quite a bit. I did force some Jalen Smith in. He's just another cheap value piece. I wish he saw more minutes, but he sees around 15 minutes, and he's usually a good points per minute guy. It has random smash games, so I think he can do that against the Brooklyn B team or C team, however low you want to go. With Whiteout, I already had some Giddey, so I might get some more of him. I'm probably a little more willing to play LaVine now. He just really hasn't been that good, but I do like this spot for most guys on this team, and even willing to play some Ayo now with Whiteout. So.
Yeah, the only problem for me, I love Vooch on this slate too, but I like so many centers on this slate. We talked about Bam. We're going to talk about AD, and I'm sure there's more too. There's the main two. But those really are the main centers I like on this slate. AD, Bam, and Vooch. But that's still a lot of pretty expensive centers that I'm paying up for. But that's really my strategy on this slate, is to force that pay up when we do have some really good value. And so this is the highest total game on the slate. So I'll reiterate that. This is a game I'm trying to force exposure to. I have a 20% min on LaVine, 15% min on Giddey, and 15% min on Ayo. Those are things that might increase as we see ownership get updated, and as we see like just these projections change too with the Kobe White news out. So that's kind of where I'm at there. Tyrell, no ownership cap for me with this team. Because there's no one who's really showing up too much for me. Tyson, is that a joke? Did Michael Porter Jr. really get traded just now?
Not that I know of.
That would be wild if that was true. Yeah.
Oh, Austin Reeves is ruled out.
See, that's the news I was trying to...
See, now D'Angelo Russell's going to get chalky because I was way over the field on him. Way over the field.
Oh, was he like a leverage play for you?
Yep.
That was a good one. I was looking at forcing exposure too, but only if Reeves got ruled out. You can't convince me to play D'Angelo Russell these days unless there's another injury there. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump. 4-game slate has enough injury news on this for a 10-gamer. This is crazy. Wild. There are a lot of teams on the back end of a back-to-back, so that's really the main reason for it. But yeah, let's look at the Lakers. When it comes to guys that are out tonight, we have Austin Reeves out. Did we get the Cam Reddish news, or is he still questionable?
I don't think. Or he's available.
Okay, he's available. And then the other guys have been out for a while. So the big piece here is Austin Reeves. That's big for the guards and LeBron too. What did you do here?
So as you can see, I put him in and even threw a love on Russell, which with that I was getting around 30%. So like I said, I was way over the field on him. He was a leverage play for me last time he played, and he was the same price, I believe, and smashed that tag. So um, it's not the best matchup on paper, but he's just way too cheap. And there's one thing we know he's going to do, and that's shoot the ball. Of course, he just has to knock him down. So I do like him even more. And he honestly might be a core play for me now, but we'll see. Um, and then, I mean, I didn't really do anything else to anyone, but I'm probably going to get some Connect and Rui now. I'll have to think about Reddish. He's just really not that good. And then I was on the fence about AD and LeBron, but I'm willing to play them now too.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason why I just can't play Tatum today, outside of like the 5% or whatever I have, is because I like so many of the other studs on this slate who are a little bit cheaper or just in a better spot. And so Anthony Davis, I have a 20% min on. Gobert has not been good this year, but in general, you can just pick on the Timberwolves so far this season with bigs. Seems weird. My brain isn't used to being able to say that, but it's been the case so far this season. And so AD is someone I want to force exposure to. LeBron James, we can expect him to play the one a bit more with Reeves out. We've seen him do it multiple times throughout his career, so it wouldn't shock me if he has a little bit more ball handling duties tonight. So I forced a 10% min on him. If the Austin Reeves news shifts his ownership a little bit, I'm willing to increase that 5-10% at 9,800. Not the worst spot. And then D'Lo's probably going to end up being a core play for me. That's just the way it is at this point. I don't like it. I don't feel great about it. I don't like D'Lo like you do, but he just makes sense. Worst case, even if he's not a core play, I feel like I want to have more than 35 to 40%. My usual strat is to at least just see what the DS does without me forcing it. And then if it doesn't give me the guy I want to see, then I'll force exposure to it. So we'll see what happens there. And then, did you mention Connect at all or no?
Yep. I'm not sure how much I'm getting yet, but I'm definitely gonna. I didn't have any exposure before, but I definitely will now.
Yeah, I'm not going to go crazy
Yeah.
with him, but I just want to see him show up. He's not showing up in my line so far, but with Reeves out, they might get weird here. They can definitely utilize him in this spot. Yeah, I like him.
I think Max Christie is worth a mention too. He had a solid game. Actually, Gabe Vincent did as well. So not too thrilled with those guys, but if they show up just a little bit, then I'm okay with it.
The
Just
Gabe
nothing
Vincent
crazy.
fall off needs to be studied. It is wild to me how you go from being a viable player to playing 31 minutes and not doing shit against Utah. Does not make sense to me. But let's see, Max Christie has been a little bit better. Still a low usage guy. I cannot go there with you, man. But I get it. He definitely should be a bit more involved with Austin Reeves out. I think I just like other value a bit more on the slate. Do you think about Rui at all or no?
He's gonna be another guy. If he shows up, that's fine, but probably not gonna go out of my way to force him in.
Dixon, I know AD is probably going to disappoint me here, but I still like the matchup. And you know me, I'm matchups all day, every day. I don't even think about who you are most of the time. All right, now we have what was one of my favorite spots on the slate, but not really anymore. We have the Timberwolves going up against the Lakers. I honestly thought that Minnesota might blow out the Lakers tonight, but just how weird some of the other games are on the slate, I don't know. But Minnesota's healthy. The Lakers are missing guys like Reeves and some other pieces. Lakers are also on the back end of a back-to-back. So there is some risk here. Did any of these guys stand out for you?
So here's another reason why I love the D'Lo play is because when you look at Conley, he's very chalky tonight, and chalky Conley is another scary chalk piece. Like you never know which one you're going to get. It is a decent spot for him, so I don't mind him. I did cap him at 40, which I'm sure once we update the DS, his exposure will probably go down now. But yeah, that's another reason why I love the D'Lo play because he's $400 cheaper and could very well outscore Conley easily. So that's kind of out the window now because I expect D'Lo to be chalk now. But anyways, I am okay with Conley. I just didn't want he was showing up like 50-60% earlier, so I definitely didn't want that much. I don't mind Reed either. He's just another decent, somewhat cheap guy. That's kind of throughout the mix. So I'll be around Phil Wade. I did put a 20% man on Randall. I just love his price in the spot for him. So he's the guy I wanted to take a shot between the guys like Gobert and Ant. I did think about Ant, but he just really hasn't been the greatest, and we haven't seen like any.
What do you
I
mean?
mean, he's had some solid games, but he's had some solid games, but we need like where he's priced, we need like 60+ games, and he hasn't had too much of those.
So. Yeah, he hasn't had a 60-point game all year so far. But
there's just other guys around his price that I like a bit more, but I definitely don't hate the shot on him at all.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. He hasn't shown us that 60-point upside, but I like this spot for him. I have a 30% min on him. I want to be significantly over the field, and I still feel really good about that. Julius Randle, I don't have much exposure to. What was your thought process there? You just liked him and his price tag?
Yep, mainly his price tag, and we haven't seen like too many games where he's shown his upside, but it's just kind of like a stand that I was taking tonight.
Yeah, I don't not like it. I just wish he was showing up a bit more naturally. I'll put a 15% min on him because I think he does need to show up at 7,700. That's not pricey. We have the value to pay up for a guy like that. Should force some mid-range builds just by having him in lineups, which is nice. So I'll follow you on that one. And then Mike Conley, like you, he was showing up a lot earlier, but he just kind of fell off for me by himself. He's now around like 38%. Where are you at with Naz Reid? Is he showing up for you at all?
Yeah, he was showing up like close to 30%, but like I said, once it updates and we rerun with the news we got, and I'm sure he'll drop some. But I'm definitely okay with being around Phil Wade on him.
Yeah, he's showing up for me around 40%. That feels a little strong. I just like some of the other plays. Wow, Ty, you were going. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since Randall Lakers, but everyone likes to style on the Lakers a little bit when they can. We didn't talk too much about Derek White, but he's viable, Dixon. I like him a bit more if Jaylen Brown gets ruled out. Yep. We haven't gotten that news yet. Let's see. All right. So yeah, for me, I'm gonna follow you and just do a 20% min on Julius Randle. And then Naz Reid, I think I'm gonna cap at 30%. I don't really want him showing up in 40% of my lines, but I think we have better value on the slate. And there's just other bigs I like more. So yeah, that's pretty much the slate in a nutshell, guys. I saw quite a few questions kind of come up throughout the show, but I didn't see them while we were talking about those teams. So we'll go back through. John, for Queta, we're just going to wait and see what that starting lineup looks like. If he starts, I'll probably put like a 10 to 15% min on him or something like that. Yeah. We'll just kind of see where ownership falls. We touched on Keon. He's definitely a lock for me on this slate. And Brandon, Phil, good to see you back too, man. Mo, what's up? Yeah, Daniel, that was my thought process too. I just prefer Braun a good bit. Let's see. Yeah, appreciate you, William. Hope you're doing all right, man. Risa Shea, any love for you here, Brandon?
Nah, ever since Bog and Hunter have been back, I haven't really been on them, so it's just hard for me to get to them tonight.
Yep, another one that's worth mentioning here is actually a solid call out, Daniel. Lonzo Ball. Any interest for you here?
I mean, he's only 4K. I'm not sure how much he is on FanDuel, but 4K with Kobe out, I might take a small shot on him.
More viable. Have we seen him play more than 20 minutes at all?
I was going to say his minutes scare me, so I don't know if they're going to go above 20 at all or not, but it is tempting. I'm not going to lie.
4K. I mean, his usage hasn't been great, but he's been very involved from like a fantasy standpoint, even for how few minutes he's been playing, which is interesting to see. What was his injury? Do you know when he was out for like last month?
I forgot what it was. It was something really bad. I just don't
Okay,
remember the
that's all
exact.
that. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
How bad was it? If it's really
Like
bad, if they're gonna play
him
safe.
playing basketball again was in question. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. So I'm not playing Lonzo. I get it. It's getting a little cute, and usually I'd be down for that. But we have actual good value on this slate, so I don't think I need to force more. Appreciate y'all. Tyrese Martin. I didn't think about him much. Is he on the Nets?
Yep, he should be a guy I would imagine shows up some once we update.
Yeah, I'm not gonna force him in, but if he shows up, he shows up. Kind of like Jalen Wilson. But if you're thinking like single entry, so far he's not shown up for me, so I wouldn't do that. But Jalen Wilson is looking like he might be a core play for me on this slate, so I feel better about him. Yeah, Martin's just not a guy I'm overly excited about so far, but I'll probably have like 15 to 20%, but I wouldn't go there in single entry lines. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Hidden 30 minutes today? If so, he's definitely got a ceiling. Oh, Giddey? Yeah, Giddey definitely has 30-minute upside for me with Kobe White out. What do you think?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, like he's a guy we want to force some exposure to. Boosh is solid. Tyson, I think someone's scamming you on that Michael Porter Jr. news. I didn't see that anywhere. Let's see. Motown said, not normally an NBA DFS player. What? I feel like I see you all the time in the DFS chats. But yeah, how many guys do the Nets have? They have bodies. Like they have plenty of guys available. It's not like the COVID days when there were teams that were short players and stuff. But yeah, it's not really a available situation. Gobert became soft after seeing another French player in the NBA. Low-key, there is a bit of correlation there. All right, let's see. DiVincenzo, not for me today. Ricardo, it's weird. I thought he was going to be good on the Timberwolves, but he's been nothing but a disappointment. Did you look there at all?
Nah, there's better plays in that price range elsewhere.
Yeah, agreed. Conley, we're not getting rid of him, Ty, but he's not going to be a core player or anything like that. James said best player for each position. You all playing that tournament, whatever. I don't even know what it's called anymore, but like a best player to each position thing. What are your thoughts here, Brandon?
Let's see. Let me
we can just go back and forth for each position, so it doesn't take too long.
So point guard, I'll say Tyler Hero. Shooting guard, Keon Johnson. Small forward. I have more Trey Murphy, but hard not to go all the way down to Tatum there. Power forward, Jalen Johnson, and then center, Bam.
Yeah, best players is a little bit different than best play. So, but I'll assume you're talking about best play. For me, at center, I would lean towards Anthony Davis, but I have more Bam. Power forward, once again, like leaning towards LeBron James in this spot, but I have more Jalen Johnson. Small forward, I have more Jalen Wilson than I do Zach LaVine, but I think Zach LaVine's the right call here. Shooting guard is Keon Johnson, but once again, like I would prefer Anthony Davis or Anthony Edwards. And then point guard is Tyler Hero for me. But you can also talk me on to DeJounte Murray or Dennis Schroeder as well. Let's see. Russell starting too. I expected him to at this point, but still, that just makes him even better. Like I said, he's probably going to be a core play for me on this slate. No question asked. Is DS going to update with projection? Yeah, for sure. Reset my brain a little bit. The slate doesn't lock until 7:30. So I would expect us to have everything by 7. What was that, Brandon?
I said, we got plenty of time.
Yeah, a lot of time. It's also an NFL slate, so Uppers is doing a lot. Dixon said, Nas or Rui? Already have AD and Connect in the same lineup. I would go Nas. Jose said, is Keon Johnson starting tonight? Do you know the answer to that? I can look and see what we have as the projected starting lineup.
Yeah, I don't think they've released that yet, but it doesn't matter if he does or not.
Yeah, but we're expecting him to start next to Schroeder. Yeah. Alonzo equals unplayable for now. We can dream. Eventually, he'll see more than 25 minutes, hopefully. London, 4,300 on FanDuel. I have no idea who he's talking about. Do you?
Think he meant Lonzo.
Oh, okay. So Lonzo, yes, a little bit pricier on FanDuel. I still wouldn't do it. Would you?
No, not with the other guys we have now.
Okay. D'Lo is like 2 to 3 games away from Shanghai. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. This is his last moment, Dixon. This is where he wins us a tournament, and we can look back on, wow, remember when D'Lo did that? Now he's playing in China.
If he was like in his normal like 6 to 7K range, then I wouldn't be on him at all. But 4.4K, I mean, come on now.
Yeah. So
even he can pay that off.
Yeah. See, now I'm starting to get a little bit more nervous about it the more we talk about it, but it still makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, Dante DiVincenzo, hard pass for me, man. KG, knees. Yeah, Alonzo had a knee injury. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not going to play him. Mamadoro said Horton Tucker viable with no Kobe. I really just wanted to say no out of instinct, but I probably should look at that a little bit closer. Okay, so we have Kobe White out, THT small forward 3,200. I don't really expect him to see too much of a boost here. Do you?
Nah, I mean he's had some decent games. I just think we have better plays, to be honest.
Yeah, not one I'm looking at too seriously quite yet. Maybe if Zach LaVine was out and Kobe White, I'd be a bit more interested, but not at this point. Not for me, man. Core plays. I'm still waiting on the DS to update, so if I give you an answer now, it's going to be different, unfortunately. But for now, I have Keon Johnson, Dennis Schroeder, Bam Adebayo, Jalen Johnson, and Jalen Wilson. What about you, Brandon? Who are you looking at?
Keon Johnson, Bam, Schroeder, Jalen Johnson, and Hero.
Yeah, and I think this will change, though, especially with the Lakers, for sure.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown is in. Okay, sweet. That means we have one less injury situation to worry about. I'm still interested in seeing what happens with Ingram. But yeah, for me, Brown being in just makes it even easier for me not to think about this team too much. Thoughts on Pritchard? Brandon, you like Pritchard, don't you? A good bit?
Yep, I forced Pritchard in.
Yeah. I'm going to lower my force. I had 20%, a 20% min on him. I'm going to move it to 15%. He's still fine, but I liked him more with the thought process of Brown being out. And I think his ownership will fall too, just with some of the other plays we have on the slate. Brandon Ingram ruled out. Well, there goes my DeJounte Murray leverage play.
Wow.
I should have let you have the leverage sheet today. There's just everyone's so freaking chalky. All right. So for me, with Ingram out, that's a big boost to both DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum. Trey Murphy sees a really big boost too. His floor becomes even more secure than it already was. And those are really the main guys I'm looking at. Brandon Boston, sure, technically sees a nice boost here. His minutes should elevate a little bit. But at 51 or 5,600, he's not someone I'm really excited about. So I'm not planning on going there. What are your thoughts, though? Does the Ingram out news change anything for you?
Yep, I didn't have any McCollum exposure at all, but I will for sure now. I imagine I'll have more exposure to Trey Murphy. And then kind of like you mentioned with Boston, it makes him viable, but he won't be like somebody I'm trying to jam in my lines. If he shows up some, I'm okay with it, but probably won't go out of my way to get any of him.
Yeah, if he was 4,400 like D'Lo, it'll be a different story. But 5,600, he has to actually be great. With the upside he has, I'm just not excited about it. Mo said Hero showing up as a core for me. Hero a bum. Never does well for me is what Dixon said. It's weird. Tyler Hero has burned me a good amount here lately, even though I think I had him as a leverage play and he went off that night. So maybe not. I don't know. I don't really hold memories of how players do for me, good or bad. I just kind of forget it and move on. But I have Hero as a core play. It's a great spot with Jimmy Butler out. He typically does better. The Celtics are healthy, though. But you can shoot threes against solid defenses.
Holiday is out too, so
yeah, Holiday's out too, which makes the matchup a bit softer. God, y'all are really trying to make me rethink everything. But no, I still like the spot for Hero. And then let me look at their exact matchups a little bit. Miami. It's pretty neutral. They haven't been extremely good against guards, especially Derek White and Jaylen Brown. Not known for the best defense, but they're still pretty solid defenders.
We've also seen some trash teams put up some points against Boston. So yeah.
Defense they're good. They're a good defensive team, but they're not the juggernaut they were last year. So yeah, y'all, that's pretty much the slate. Again, for me, the biggest thing is just waiting for the DS to update. Like I said, it should be updated by 7. And so that's when I'll probably do my final run and have cores updated on DFS Army's website under cheat sheets. I'll also probably be in the chat a little bit. Let's see. Final question from the one and only Don Juan. What's up, man? Said, playing a single entry, what team would be a must? I feel like that's cheating, Don Juan. If we just say like a team, that's really easy for us to hit on. I mean, if we just say like the Nets, that's an easy win, man. But when it comes to single entry plays in general, Brandon, like who are like 1 or 2 guys that are really standing out for you?
So I'll just say, instead of copping out with Brooklyn, I'll just say Keon Johnson is a must for single entry. With Ingram out now, I'm most likely, or at least going to try to fit DeJounte in there now. And then hard not to include the 2 Miami guys, Hero and Bam as well. So, I mean, you got quite a few spots you can go for single entry.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on pretty much all of those plays. Hero did fall naturally for me, now around like 35%, but Jaime also came up a little bit. So I'm hoping the Pelicans news and Lakers news shifts that a little bit. Thoughts on Randall? Brandon had 20% min on him. I have a 20% min, but I'll probably end up lowering that to 15%. Playing Randall is a scandal. Big Missy game against Atlanta, as long as the game plays close. It wouldn't shock me. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to get there with you, but good luck, Louise. Mo said, hit that like. Yes, if you all could hit the like button, that would be very much so appreciated. Most of you are gone now, so, we'll only do so much. But if you do hit the like, that would be awesome. Ty said, what about the Pelicans depth with Peyton, J-Rob, and Javante? I didn't go there because I just like the Nets value so much. I didn't really have to think about it too much. I said that a lot. But anyway, Brandon, did you think about their depth at all?
I did not, for the same reason.
Yeah, the Nets value is just better. And yeah, I mean, if the game blows out, you can make that narrative for taking some shots there. Gun to my head, I would probably go Javante, but I don't love it, to be honest. Rozier, he's been terrible, but I know for large field GPPs, scary Terry, man. I know, wrong Terry. But it's going to be, I mean, maybe if Jimmy out, if he was cheaper, I would be open to it. 5,200 is not awful, but I don't think I'm going to get there. What about you?
Nah, he just really hasn't been that good, and we have too many other guards that are better than him tonight.
Yeah. Don't look at his game log. It is not a pretty sight. He's been playing more minutes, which is good to see for him, but that's what happens when you leave Charlotte. That upside's going to be gone. JM, line up tonight. Prayers. Good luck, man. Hopefully you can make it happen. Dixon said, I'm staying until the end because I heard you, man. You're wilded. Hopefully. All right, y'all. I appreciate the support. It's been a good show. I will not be back tomorrow. Have work stuff. Will not be here on Thursday, but ideally we will make a show happen on Wednesday. Nice slate there too. And then, never know. There might be some VIP only shows that happen for some people. Got to keep an eye out for it. JM, appreciate the love and the dono. A little nervous, but hey, I get it. It's that kind of slate. We have a lot of news on a 4-gamer. But all right. Peace, love, happiness. Good luck.